Hey, what's up, my loves? Um, Clearly this wasn't very much of a planned video, but there's been some topics or some questions that have come my way on my Facebook post that I put up in the group Let's Talk Magic, asking for a topic for my next video, and I got some amazing, wonderful ideas from all of you. I asked if I should do one long video or should I break them up in what I thought. Naturally, everyone's like, no, break them up. Y'all know how long-winded I am. So I was gonna actually wait and do this tomorrow, but I'm just on a roll and I couldn't sleep and things were just coming into my mind right now. Spirit was talking to me, so I'm like, hey, just transmit it as it's coming. So one of the topics on the video was, or one of the topics on the thread for her video was a self-love spell. And I get asked this a lot. I see this in the group from time to time, and people ask like for a spell for self-love, I guess for nurturing and just kind of being better to yourself. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that with you guys. So a self-love spell. I'm gonna be really frank with you. I don't know of a self-love spell. I've never written a one that's like, oh, this spell is for self-love. I've never done that, so I don't have one to give you. I do have some rituals that I've done for kind of just getting yourself to a better place, and I'm going to share that with you in a few minutes in this video. But I just briefly, before we got into the actual ritual itself and how to do it, I just wanted to take a minute and, you know, talk to you about the importance of when you're working your magic, when you're casting your spells, when you're doing your rituals, when you're saying your affirmations or reading your tarot cards, performing your Reiki, when you're trying to work on your manifestation. And I say that because I assume most people that watch my videos is because they're trying to manifest, bring something into their life, better themselves, better their life, better their situation, whether it's love, money, or maybe just remove their blockages that are keeping them from having the type of life that they want, or being able to provide. Sorry guys, I don't have my tripod, so I'm holding my phone and I am sleepy. So yeah, you know, you're trying to just be all around better in every area of your life, including yourself. So a self-love spell. Yeah, it is important to nurture yourself in order to perform your magic and for your spells and your rituals and the results that you're looking for to manifest. Of course, you want your spells to work. You want things to come true, your dreams and wishes to come true. You want them to come faster. You don't want to wait forever for things to happen. And you know, I'm assuming nobody wants to spend some crazy amount of time working on bringing something into their life. You want to do this ritual maybe once or twice, work on it, and then you want it to happen. So with that being said, the importance of taking care of thyself, and this is thy physical self, thy emotional self, thy mental, psychological self. I find that 50% of people I talk to come into their spirituality because they basically have started to awaken, and they find things that they are attracted to or drawn to that they weren't before. Crystals, candles, tarot cards, metaphysical, meditation, whatever it is. They just one day, it's almost sudden, they find themselves drawn to certain modalities and practices and things that they weren't drawn to before, or they were taught you shouldn't partake in these sort of things, and now they're curious. And or they've seen or have said things that have happened out of their mouth, or they have felt things before they happened. There's been something that has given them that sign that they're connected to the universe, they're connected to the divine, they're connected to this energy, and whatever that experience is. And then I come across the other 50% of people come into spirituality or come into practicing witchcraft and magic, candle magic, or whatnot, by way of a need or a want or a situation, whether that's a court case that you're dealing with, a legal case, a lost love, wanting a new love, changes in your finances, new opportunities, grow your business, get rid of someone that just doesn't serve you any good, whatever that is, people, gravitate towards spiritual work for those reasons. And some people utilize magic just for that, and that's it, and they go about their daily lives. And others come to magic and then find their path or their way, or discover that while they're trying to fix this problem, they've come into something, or they've tapped in or tuned into some energy that they didn't really know existed, and now their nose is kind of open and they're intrigued and they're feeling fulfilled, or they're feeling this desire to want and need to learn more. So you either woke up and came into your spirituality, or you had an issue going on and you found your spirituality that way. Whichever way it is, for most people, or I'm going to say the 50% that comes into spirituality as by way of wanting something. I talked to a lot of people and they started candle magic because they were trying to fix whatever was going on in their life. Most of the time, those individuals they're dealing with something. They're stressed. There's a problem or an issue or a situation or a condition that needs to be changed. Oftentimes people resort to magic if they're not already on a spiritual path, and they resort to magic as this is the last thing I'm going to try. I've done everything humanly possible in my physical existence to try to fix this issue, fix the situation, change things, and now I'm going to try it from a different angle, a different level, a different frequency, and I'm going to go about it with spiritual work. I'm going to cast a spell, I'm going to hire a practitioner to do it, or whatever. But does how you feel, how you are feeling, affect your work? And it does. Now, this is where it gets tricky, because I always make reference to when you're trying to manifest something, you have to, that saying, fake it till you make it. You got to kind of trick yourself, or almost lie to yourself into believing that it is going to happen, or it has already happened. That's a part of the practice when you're doing spiritual work. You also have to have a bit of faith. And I don't dislike the word faith. I need to find a different word for it, because I think people hear it and they're like, oh yeah, I have to have faith, but nobody really understands, or they understand what it means. They're just like, how am I going to do that? But there has to be a certain part of you that believes upon believes upon believes, that just knows, that feels it, that these things are going to come about. It's just like when you're a little kid. Excuse me, for those of you that were raised to hear about the tooth fairy, you knew when you lost a tooth, like you knew, I lose a tooth, there's going to be something in my pillow from the tooth fairy. Or for those of you that as children, really your families or parents told you that Santa was real until you got to an age where you discovered that it wasn't. That same belief, that same feeling, even when you're like, I don't think that like, I know that can that be possible? But I still believe it. I'm holding on to it because I want it to be true. That's the feeling that you need to have in your spiritual work. The flip side to that is, how do you feel that way when you're anxious, when you're tired, when you're up against the wall, when you're broke, when you're beaten down, when you're depressed, when you're sad, when you're at your wit's end and there is nothing else you can do, when you have a deadline or you don't have time, or the situation has escalated to a point where you only have a few days to make a decision or to make things happen, and it's going to affect your life and your future and your family and your kids. How are you supposed to believe or be strong or have faith or be like, yeah, things are working out, when it's like, no, it's not. I've got 3 days or I'm going to be evicted. The marshal's coming to lock me out. How do you feel that way? The answer to that is, I don't know. I don't know how to tell you to feel that way. I can't tell anyone how to feel. I can't teach you how to feel. What I can say is, and I can only speak from my own personal experiences and from those around me that have shared their stories and clients that I've worked for and I've seen it happen. You may notice a lot of times for a lot of people that at the last minute, right where it seems like there's no hope, something develops, something comes through. When you're like, I did my calendar work and I don't see any results and I only have 3 more days or only have a week or whatever, at that very last minute, like the day before you're going to be served for that eviction notice, or the day before X, Y, and Z has to happen, or something comes through. That's a part of your faith, and that's a part of you putting energy into your work. Now, I talk a lot about, you want to perform your spiritual work. You don't want to do it when you're in a short amount of time you have to do it, or you're anxious, or you're angry, or you're just not focused, okay? Because I'm not going to say you can't do spiritual work when you're angry. Maybe the situation that you're doing it on is you're pissed off and you need that energy. You need that anger to go in there to make it happen. You need that anxiety of you only have a few days. You need that feeling to go into your work. I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but I am going to say it is important on other levels. Let's just say you're trying to manifest a new job, or the money to get your car fixed, or the money to pay a certain bill, or you want to, go to court and have the judge see in your favor. It is important to be mentally, physically, and emotionally aligned as much as possible, despite having things in your life going on. So if you're doing prosperity work to open up your finances because you want to buy a house or a condo in a year or two, and you're like, I'm doing the work now for that, but in the back of your mind you're like, I don't think this is going to work, my credit's screwed up, I'm depressed because I don't have any money, if that's how you're feeling, then what are you doing the work for? It's like you're doing the work but you're already sabotaging it before it gets going. Does that make sense? People do love work to attract a new love in their life. And then when they meet that new love, they can't surrender and open themselves up emotionally because they're still distraught over the past love, and they're thinking that this new person's going to do what the last person did. Or, or you're scared that you're going to meet a person and have a repeat of your last relationship. So you keep doing these love spells to meet someone new, and you don't meet anyone new. Well, you haven't let go of the past yet. Or you met someone new and nothing happened, but they just stopped talking to you. The energy, the chemistry was off because they picked up on you haven't healed yet. You haven't gotten okay with yourself to pursue that new relationship. These are just examples, so not to get too far off the bandwagon. Self-love, the importance of nurturing and taking care of yourself, and how it can affect your magic and make your magic better. Healing takes time. Healing takes time, okay? It may take, a split second to slice your finger with a knife, but it takes about 3 days for, the skin to grow back and that wound to close up and the pain to go away. So healing takes time. We've all had things that have occurred in our life, whether it's from what someone has done to you, if it was something tragic that you witnessed or were a part of or had to go through, or just everyday things in life that occur. We've all, I would say, I think, especially if you're at least at a certain age, if you're an adult or even a teenager, but more or less an adult, we've all probably had a heartbreak. We've all have experienced, not having enough funds for something. We've all experienced not doing well at something, whether that's school or work or whatever, and then we're hard on ourselves, and we're our own worst critics, and we are our own adversaries, and we tend to be our own blockages. Most people that come to me about they're blocked and they want to someone put witchcraft on them, 7 out of 10 people, 8 out of 10, they didn't have witchcraft put on them. They have blocked themselves, their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions. I'm doing this counter work, but I'm not sure if it's going to work. Well, then you might as well not do it, because you just put an iffy on the counter work. But anyway, self-love, and how do you do that? And can you do that? The answer is yes, you can do it. Healing is the first step, and you have to figure out what works for you. One size doesn't fit all. What works for one person doesn't work for the other. Meditation, so I know people that can sit down and get quiet and meditate for 20 minutes and not say anything and just sit there and deal with their own brain and their own thoughts. I can't do that. I can if I really put my mind to it, but I will be itching like I have got to get up. I can't do that. I meditate by coloring. I meditate by listening to guided meditations and music. I meditate through yoga, or stretching or other things. I can't just sit quietly. So what I mean by that is you have to find what works for you. There are hundreds of different ways of healing, and I don't know all the methods, but there's physical healing, so through exercise, being outside in the sun, in nature, in the moon, in the water. There's activities that you can do. A lot are free. Walking at the beach is free. Walking at the park is free. I know for some people that don't live in areas that have beaches or things like that, or maybe you're in a part of the country right now where the weather's starting to get cold and snowy, you're like, okay, well, I can't connect to nature in 18-degree weather. Got it, totally. But there are other modalities. There's healing, working with crystals. Buy some crystals, order some, start learning about them. There is Reiki, the Japanese healing method of aligning your chakras and rebalancing your energy through love and through positive vibrations from the universe. There's massage, okay? Excuse me, my throat's getting a little dry. There is a number of modalities. There's yoga. And don't be afraid if you're not flexible, honey. You should see me my first time. I've done yoga throughout the years, but time goes by and then I always go back after like a year or two, and I am number one, I'm too stiff or too tight to get in certain positions, and when I finally do, I possibly just flop and fall over. So don't be afraid to try something new. Moving on to the rituals. So try coloring, try your spiritual baths, try going to yoga or one of those paint and wine classes, or just being with yourself. Like, take a minute to be with yourself. Take a minute to think about what you've accomplished. You woke up, you got yourself together for the day, whatever that is, if you've done that. But the bottom line is understanding that you woke up, and that's half the battle. You didn't have to wake up, okay? Every night when we go to sleep, our angels go to vouch for us. Our angels, and I learned this from Kaya Carter. Your guardian angels go to vouch for you while you're sleeping with the hierarchy about why you should wake up the next day. And they assess what you've done. Should you be given another day, another opportunity? Yes, you wake up. No, you go peacefully in your sleep. A lot of people go that way. I have a friend that went that way too early, but she was ready and she did. So every day that you wake up is a blessing. Understand that you woke up because you were given the opportunity, not because it was owed to you. And your angels fought for you to have another chance, okay? So find something, whatever it is, and if it's free, it's even better, that makes you feel good. Sit under a tree, sit in your bathtub, sit on the floor of your shower if you don't have a bathtub. Play a word search. Pamper yourself. I tell this to my female clients a lot, but for you guys also, pamper yourself. When was the last time you treated yourself to a movie by yourself? Like, eat some ice cream for breakfast and go to the movies. Mani-pedis, I mean, for some people those are treats. For some other people it's a way of life, but treat yourself to a mani-pedi. Buy an expensive bottle of wine that you don't normally buy, but buy one because it's Wednesday and go home and drink it, even though you have to go to work. And live, because tomorrow you might not be able to, okay? Stop waiting and holding on to those things for special occasions. Every minute is a special occasion. So my point is, find something to nurture you that makes you feel good, that's just for you. Not something you do with the kids, not something you do with your spouse, not something that's going to be for work, or, if it's educational, then that's fine. But do something for yourself because you deserve it, because you woke up, because you have made it this far. No matter where you are, you've made it this far. No situation is too terrible. In whatever situation you're in that you may feel is really bad, just remember that there is someone else in the earth, on the earth, maybe even in your city, that's going through something worse. And it can too be fixed, but you got to get focused. You got to focus, you got to get your mind right. If you're anxious and you're worried and you're sad and you're angry and you're bitching and you're complaining and you're off balance and you're just like, nothing's going to get accomplished. Even without magic, nothing will get accomplished. But nothing will get accomplished in your spiritual work. So you've got to figure out a way to find balance. Google. There is so much information on Google, YouTube. Listen to something. Listen to some affirmations or something positive. I don't care what you do. But you got to do something that is a treat. Not mandatory. Not something that's standard or useful or chore. But a treat that you don't get to normally do, that you do for yourself to make you feel good. Don't worry about the money to come back to you. I guarantee. You spend the money freely to treat yourself, even if you got a bill due in 3 days, that money will come back to you. It's energy. Send it out. When you spend it, it's going to come back to me. It will come back. When you do things to make yourself feel good, your magic will be stronger. Okay? Now let me just get to the ritual, because I've been blabbing. If it wasn't so late, I would dig out all my stuff, but I am so tired. So I'll tell you what I did. This was back in 2013, I think it was. Yeah, it was 2013. I went to a group ritual. First ritual I'd ever done with a group of people. It was for Yuli, and I didn't know what to expect. But what we did was we acknowledged the goddess Brigitte, and coming on the winter solstice and things like that, but we acknowledge the goddess Brigitte. You don't have to work with her. You can work with any spirit or deity that you want, and if you don't work with any spirits or ancestors or deities, that's fine. You can still do this, but she was called upon for healing in the group of people that I was with, and we were honoring her. So long story short, bottom line is, we all had small candles, little white candles, and the candle was, of course, an offering to her, but the purpose of lighting the candle was you were lighting your candle to illuminate your new path, your new way of thinking, your new way of healing. This is just a start of new, because you're breaking an old habit. And at that time, in 2013, things were good. An average person would say you had nothing to worry about. Working, had a great job, had a fabulous job, actually, had everything that a person would want, okay? Job, place, car, all that stuff. But there was a part of me, something was missing. I had been in between relationships, but, I don't have a problem meeting people and dating and finding a partner, so it wasn't like I was heartbroken or anything. I didn't really know what exactly it was. I think it was a combination of a few things. My father passing and just life. Okay, I'm not going to bore you guys with that. But the bottom line was, I started to find myself falling into this feeling of depression and feeling sad and anxious and not being able to sleep. And it wasn't like, okay, this happens for a few days or a week. It happens to all of us, or even a month. But it was December, and I had noticed I'm not feeling right, although I don't have anything to be worried about. I don't have anything that should be making me feel this way, but I don't feel right. Just don't feel right. Okay. So we did this ritual, and there was a group of us there, and we were all told to write down one thing on a piece of paper, just a little, piece of paper, school paper. And one by one, we dropped it into the fire, and we lit our candle for Brigitte as our offering, and we dropped that little piece of paper in, burning what that is, asking for help with that, and releasing it to the universe. And when I dropped my piece of paper, my request was to take my anxiety, that anxiousness away, the sadness from the depression away, and to just help me, not to feel that way, and to make, or help me open up to see ways of caring for myself and loving myself. I didn't feel anything right away after the ritual. Dropped it in, burned it. I was a little emotional, which I think was more from acknowledging and accepting that this is what I'm experiencing and I want to get rid of it. And did the ritual. So it was about 3 days afterwards where I woke up, and it was the first day I woke up and I didn't feel depressed, and I didn't feel anxious, and I didn't feel sad, and I didn't feel overwhelmed of all these things that I had been feeling, and I didn't know why I didn't feel that way. Then I started feeling anxious because I'm like, well, I feel normal. I'm happy now. I don't feel bad. Why don't I feel bad, kind of thing. So I had to process that. But my point is, burning things and working with fire and working with air and writing it down and subconsciously releasing it and symbolically releasing it by placing it into, your little cauldron or your little container that you burn stuff, and you're letting it go to the universe. And you're saying, here, I can't do this anymore. Take it from me. Help me heal. Help me feel better. Remove the regret or the hurt or the anger or the whatever it is. That was the ritual that I did, and it definitely helped, and it definitely worked. Now, I will say, what I was going through, yes, it was mental, emotional, and it was also spiritual. I was transitioning spiritually. I was doing a lot of spell work. I wasn't doing spell work for people at the time, just for friends and for myself, and I had a lot going on. I was carrying a lot, and that's where I got really deeper into doing my spiritual baths. Like, instead of waiting every full moon, I was doing them like every weekend, doing my spiritual baths. So that's another thing. And that's what helped me. I was not at a place, or I felt I was not at a place where I needed to seek professional help or counseling or a doctor or a shrink or medication or anything like that. My energy was off and it needed to be cleared. And I needed to really acknowledge what I wasn't nurturing myself, and I needed to heal from that, and that's how I got rid of it. This may not work for everyone. If you truly, some people do have chemical imbalances that is affecting them psychologically, traumas that they have gone through and lived through. Things have happened. You've seen things have happened in your life, or you just may be a sensitive person, and these things are genuinely affecting you mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, but to the point where a candle ritual is not going to work. Like, there are some people that do need to be, or feel that they benefit. I'm not going to say anybody needs to be on anything, but believes or feels that they may benefit from the aid of a doctor or a psychiatrist or certain medications to kind of rebalance the chemicals going on in their brain. And if that's you, then this may not be the best ritual. You can try it, but it does not replace medical intervention, is what I'm going to say. And I have to kind of just say that as a disclaimer, because I'm not, prescribing or advising anyone to do these things in place of. But, if you are seriously struggling or have a mental illness or emotional illness or something like that where you need professional help, then by all means, please get some. If you don't know, then give the ritual a try and see if that works, or do some research to find some other sort of ritual. Like I said, I didn't, and I've been on antidepressants before. I have, years ago, for other things. But I knew that what I was holding on, I knew I didn't need medication. I needed it to be released. And part of self-love and healing is releasing things and saying, putting your foot down and saying, you know what, goddammit, this is not going to fucking bother me anymore. I am not going to let this rule my life. I am not going to let this dictate how I operate and the things that I do and the decisions that I make based on this rock of an issue that I'm holding on to. And I'm going to end this because I've been blabbing for almost 30 minutes. But, we all say, that saying, if you want something done right, do it yourself. You got to be your biggest cheerleader. You got to be your biggest advocate. Even if your mother and father and sister and brother and family and coworker and best friend, I don't care. If every person in your life has somehow went on and are not present anymore, whatever you did that got you in this position, you got to be your own cheerleader. You're here for a reason. You're perfect, just the way you are. You have strength and you have power, and you need to find it. What breaks my heart the most is hearing people criticize themselves or saying they can't do something or it didn't work and this is the best I'm going to go. No, you are in control. You Let me rewind. You are in control. Even if you feel like you're not, you still are. There are still things you can control. You can control when you go to the bathroom. You can control when you drink some water. You can control picking up your phone or your tablet and watching this video. If you can control those things, you can control other things in your life. And you may not know how to do it yet, but you need to ask for it. Most importantly is you have to understand that you were placed in this body for a reason. If you don't like the way the body looks, change it. You can work out, get something cut off, or, I don't know, pumped in. I don't know. You don't like the way you look, change it. Fuck everybody else's opinion. Do what's going to make you feel good, okay? If you're sad and depressed, identify why. Ask yourself why. Write it down. Lay down and think about it. Identify it. And then figure out, what do I need to do to not feel that way anymore? If a person in your life doesn't make you feel good, get rid of them. Yeah. People are like, oh, I can't because they're my family. Man, you don't know nothing about them people. They may be your family. You might even share the same blood or half-blood. You don't know nothing about them motherfuckers. All you know is what you've been told. Just because they are related to you by blood does not make them family. These are strangers that you got stuck with. I'm sure if you had a choice to pick some other ones, you would. Don't let that be an excuse, okay? I'll tell you something about me. And this may be a character flaw, a defense mechanism, or will reward me in the future. My mother wasn't very family orientated. Part of me feels bad because we didn't have that holiday family time. And then part of me, it's taught me to be strong because you know what? It's like family, them be the biggest ones that stab you in the back, that don't support you. They'll say, oh, congratulations on the new job. And they'll think in the back of their head, oh, she's not going to keep it very long. Whatever. If somebody in your family, you ain't got to fuck with them because they're blood. You ain't got to do nothing. These motherfuckers are strangers as far as you're concerned. You ain't got to deal with them. Don't hurt yourself to be involved with people, especially if they ain't acting right. Don't do it. It ain't worth it. I tell you, I'll stop talking. I have stopped talking to people that were related to me because it's like, your ass is negative. You're not serving me any good, and all you're doing is making me feel like crap. And guess what? I don't have to take it, so go fuck yourself. Truthfully. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Luna, you know, the cat. Hey, toots. Quiet down in there. That was her response. She just told me she ain't doing nothing. Anyway, my point is, the things that don't make you feel good, get rid of them. And that goes for people. It does. And this may sound harsh. I know you love them. I know you love your family. You love your spouse. You love your badass kid. You know what? People treat you the way you allow them to treat you. Family will act however the hell you let them until you check them and be like, yo, I ain't tolerating that shit. A spouse will say, do, come, go, and act the way they want to act until you're like, yo, this ain't gonna work. And a kid will run your ass and act however the hell they want until it's like, listen here, I'm the boss. I gave birth to you, and you're not gonna act like a fucking fool in front of people. That's a whole nother video. My point is, if you're miserable and you're unhappy, you can change it. Now, somebody can do something to make you feel unhappy, but you continuing to feel unhappy is you doing that shit to yourself, not them. And if they are continuing to do whatever it is to make you feel unhappy, then you need to fucking get rid of them or don't complain. And if you're not going to get rid of them, then turn the video off, because this is the end of my message for you. But if you are, or if you're like, I can't throw my kid away, can't just kick my spouse out, I get it. Then you got to figure out ways or things or modalities that make you happy. That's just for you. Just your treat. I think I said this earlier. My treat is a bubble bath and a word search puzzle with a glass of wine. Wine goes with everything. But that's a treat for me, to just get in the bath, turn the phone off, and just lay there and play word search. As long as it takes me to drink my wine, I play word search. That makes me feel good. Walking through the park makes me feel good. Coloring makes me feel good. Hugging trees, yeah, hugging trees makes me feel good. And I do those things to allow myself to feel like I'm living, and it helps me heal from stuff that I've been needing healing from. So, all right, I'm done. I've been talking for 35 minutes and I need to go to sleep. For those of you amazing people that posted the question about a self-love spell, this is the best I got. But this will help you. If you take whatever you get from this video and implement this into your life, it will help. But you actually have to do it. Like, you have to make the steps and do it. Because if you don't do it and you're just thinking about it, then nothing's going to happen. And yeah, you can do a candle spell. You can get yourself a plain white candle or a plain black candle, write your name on it, dress it with some hyssop and some banishing oil to get rid of the energy that's making you feel that way, or your bad luck. But healing comes from within. And the truth is, candle magic works for a lot of things, but it doesn't work for everything. And you could burn 100 candles on yourself. If you're not going to take some physical action to help the mental, emotional, and physical, then burning the candles, it's not going to do enough. It just isn't. Okay, I'm tired now that I'm done talking. I hope that made sense. I'm trying to break that down for y'all. Good night. Thank you for the topic. I hope this was helpful to somebody. I do. And if I do ever come up with a self-love spell, I will let you know. But self-love comes from healing, and healing comes from several modalities. And candle magic is only one piece of the puzzle. So just think of it like that. All right, y'all. Bright blessings. Happy new moon. And I will catch you guys later. Good night.